Question 1. What significant constitutional document was sealed by King John of England in 1215? A. The Bill of Rights. B. The Charter of the Forest. C. The Magna Carta. D. The Royal Charter. Answer: C. The Magna Carta. The Magna Carta, sealed by King John in 1215, is significant because it limited the power of the monarchy, laying foundational principles for modern democracy and legal systems, including the rule of law and due process. Question 2. Who was the first woman to be appointed as the Prime Minister of the UK, and in which year? A. Elizabeth II, 1952. B. Margaret Thatcher, 1979. C. Theresa May, 2016. D. Angela Merkel, 2005. Answer: B. Margaret Thatcher, 1979. Margaret Thatcher was the first woman to be appointed as the Prime Minister of the UK in 1979, serving until 1990 and becoming one of the most influential political figures in British history. Question 3. Which Act, passed in 1701, aimed to secure the Protestant succession to the British throne? A. The Act of Settlement. B. The Act of Union. C. The English Bill of Rights. D. The Succession to the Crown Act. Answer: A. The Act of Settlement. Passed in 1701, the Act of Settlement was designed to secure the Protestant succession to the British throne, excluding Catholics from the line of succession. Question 4. What year did the Battle of Hastings occur, and why is it significant in British history? A. 1066. It marked the beginning of Norman rule in England. B. 1215. It was linked to the signing of the Magna Carta. C. 1415. It was part of the 100 Years' War. D. 1642. It initiated the English Civil War. Answer: A. 1066. It marked the beginning of Norman rule in England. The Battle of Hastings in 1066 is significant because it led to the Norman conquest of England, drastically altering the culture, language and governance of England. Question 5. During which conflict was the Magna Carta reissued to appease rebel barons? A. The 100 Years' War. B. The Wars of the Roses. C. The First Barons' War. D. The English Civil War. Answer: C. The First Barons' War. The Magna Carta was reissued during the First Barons' War in the early 13th century as part of negotiations to appease the rebel barons and restore peace. Question 6. Who was the reigning monarch when the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland was formed in 1801? A. Queen Victoria. B. King George III. C. King Henry VIII. D. Queen Elizabeth I. Answer: B. King George III. King George III was the reigning monarch when the Acts of Union 1800 came into effect on January 1, 1801, forming the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland. Question 7. What was the purpose of the Reform Acts passed during the 19th century? A. To abolish the monarchy. B. To consolidate royal power. C. To extend the right to vote and redistribute parliamentary seats. D. To separate church and state. Answer: C. To extend the right to vote and redistribute parliamentary seats. The Reform Acts of the 19th century, including the significant 1832 Great Reform Act, were designed to extend the franchise and address imbalances in parliamentary representation. Question 8. Name the treaty that concluded the American War of Independence and recognize its significance. A. The Treaty of Paris, 1783. B. The Treaty of Versailles, 1919. C. The Treaty of Ghent, 1814. D. The Treaty of Utrecht, 1713. Answer: A. The Treaty of Paris, 1783. The Treaty of Paris in 1783 concluded the American War of Independence, recognizing the independence of the United States from British rule. Question 9. Which British monarch faced the abdication crisis in 1936, and what was the resolution? A. King Edward VIII, he abdicated. B. King George VI, he took over. C. Queen Elizabeth II, she mediated. T. King George V, he died. Answer: A. King Edward VIII, he abdicated. King Edward VIII faced the abdication crisis in 1936 due to his desire to marry Wallis Simpson, a divorced American. He abdicated, allowing his brother, George VI, to become king. Question 10. Describe the primary aims of the Beveridge Report of 1942. A. To promote free trade. B. To outline the framework for the post-war welfare state. C. To strengthen military defenses. D. To address agricultural reforms. Answer: B. To outline the framework for the post-war welfare state. The Beveridge Report of 1942 outlined plans for widespread social insurance and welfare measures, aiming to address want, disease, ignorance, squalor, and idleness. Question 11. What role did the UK play in the establishment of the United Nations? A. It was a minor participant. B. It was opposed to its creation. C. It was a leading advocate and founding member. D. It joined only after it was established. Answer: C. It was a leading advocate and founding member. The UK played a significant role in the establishment of the United Nations in 1945, advocating for an international organization that could promote peace and cooperation globally. Question 12. What is the primary legislative body in the UK, and what are its components? A. The Royal Court, composed of the King and his advisers. B. Parliament, composed of the House of Commons and the House of Lords. C. The Council, consisting of representatives from each region. D. The Assembly, comprising elected officials from major cities. Answer: B. Parliament, composed of the House of Commons and the House of Lords. The UK Parliament is the supreme legislative body, comprising the elected House of Commons and the appointed House of Lords. Question 13. Detail the significance of the Battle of Britain during World War II. A. It was a naval conflict in the Pacific. B. It was a major German victory in France. C. It was a crucial aerial battle that prevented a German invasion of Britain. D. It involved significant ground battles on British soil. Answer: C. It was a crucial aerial battle that prevented a German invasion of Britain. The Battle of Britain in 1940 was a key aerial conflict during World War II, where the Royal Air Force successfully defended the UK against large-scale attacks by Nazi Germany's Air Force. Question 14. What was the primary cause and outcome of the English Civil War? A. Conflict over religious freedoms, resulting in the establishment of a theocracy. B. Disputes over land ownership, resulting in new laws on property rights. C. Political power struggles between the monarchy and parliament, leading to the temporary overthrow of the monarchy. D. Economic disputes between the aristocracy and peasants, leading to agrarian reforms. Answer: C. Political power struggles between the monarchy and parliament, leading to the temporary overthrow of the monarchy. The English Civil War, primarily caused by conflicts over how the country should be governed and issues of royal authority, resulted in the temporary overthrow of the monarchy and the establishment of a commonwealth under Oliver Cromwell. Question 15. Which laws were enacted in the 19th century to alleviate the conditions of the poor, and how did they impact society? A. The Poor Laws, which established workhouses and aimed to provide basic support for the destitute. B. The Land Acts, which redistributed land to the poor. C. The Education Acts, which mandated compulsory schooling for children. D. The Trade Laws, which removed tariffs on essential goods. Answer: A. The Poor Laws, which established workhouses and aimed to provide basic support for the destitute. The Poor Laws, particularly the New Poor Law of 1834, were designed to manage poverty through workhouses where those unable to support themselves were provided with work and basic care, significantly impacting societal views on welfare and poverty. Question 16. Who were the key figures in the suffragette movement in the early 20th century? A. Virginia Woolf and Sylvia Plath. B. Emmeline Pankhurst and Millicent Fawcett. C. Margaret Thatcher and Angela Merkel. D. Queen Victoria and Mary Wollstonecraft. Answer: B. Emmeline Pankhurst and Millicent Fawcett. These women were central to the British suffragette movement, advocating for women's right to vote through both peaceful and militant actions, significantly influencing the social and political landscape. Question 17. What is the historical importance of the Glorious Revolution of 1688? A. It resulted in the significant expansion of the British Empire. B. It marked the transition to constitutional monarchy with the establishment of parliamentary supremacy. C. It led to the unification of Scotland and England. D. It initiated the Industrial Revolution. Answer: B. It marked the transition to constitutional monarchy with the establishment of parliamentary supremacy. The Glorious Revolution of 1688 was crucial in establishing the supremacy of Parliament over the monarchy, marking a pivotal point in the development of a constitutional monarchy in Britain. Question 18. Which British scientist discovered penicillin, and why was this significant? A. Isaac Newton. It revolutionized physics. B. Charles Darwin. It introduced the theory of evolution. C. Alexander Fleming. It marked a major advancement in antibiotics. D. Stephen Hawking. It transformed cosmological studies. Answer: C. Alexander Fleming. It marked a major advancement in antibiotics. Alexander Fleming's discovery of penicillin in 1928 was significant because it introduced a new era of antibiotic medicine, saving countless lives and transforming medical treatment. Question 19. In which year did the UK first join the European Economic Community? A. 1957. B. 1973. C. 1981. D. 1993. Answer: B. 1973. The UK first joined the European Economic Community, now the European Union, in 1973, seeking economic benefits through closer integration with continental Europe. Question 20. Detail the impact of the Great Famine on the population and politics of Ireland. A. It led to a brief economic boom. B. It caused significant population decline and emigration, and intensified calls for Irish independence. C. It resulted in the unification of Ireland and the UK. D. It improved agricultural practices in Ireland. Answer: B. It caused significant population decline and emigration, and intensified calls for Irish independence. The Great Famine from 1845 to 1849 had devastating effects on Ireland, significantly reducing the population through death and emigration, and contributing to political unrest and the push for independence from British rule. Question 21. What led to the formation of the Commonwealth of Nations, and what are its objectives? A. The decline of the British Empire, aiming to foster international cooperation and development. B. A military alliance during World War II, aiming to defend against aggression. C. A trade pact initiated by the UK, aiming to increase economic benefits among member states. D. A cultural initiative, aiming to promote British culture globally. Answer. A. The decline of the British Empire, aiming to foster international cooperation and development. The Commonwealth of Nations was formed as the British Empire declined, transitioning into a free association of independent nations, aiming to support each other in development, democracy, and peace. Question 22. Explain the circumstances and outcomes of the Gunpowder Plot of 1605. A. A failed attempt by Catholic conspirators to blow up the House of Lords and kill King James I. B. A successful military coup to overthrow the monarchy. C. A protest against agricultural policies resulting in legislative reforms. D. A diplomatic conflict that led to a treaty with France. Answer. A. A failed attempt by Catholic conspirators to blow up the House of Lords and kill King James I. The Gunpowder Plot of 1605 was a significant event where Guy Fawkes and other conspirators attempted to assassinate the king and members of Parliament, aiming to end Protestant rule in England. Question 23. Which law, enacted in 1707, formally united the Parliaments of England and Scotland? A. The Union of the Crowns. B. The Acts of Union. C. The Magna Carta. D. The Royal Decree of Union. Answer. B. The Acts of Union. The Acts of Union 1707 were significant laws that merged the English and Scottish parliaments, creating the Parliament of Great Britain and marking a crucial step in the political unification of Great Britain. Question 24. What was the impact of the Industrial Revolution on British society and the global economy? A. It led to a decline in industrial activity. B. It caused an increase in agricultural focus. C. It revolutionized production processes, leading to urbanization and global economic integration. D. It had minimal impact on global economic structures. Answer. C. It revolutionized production processes, leading to urbanization and global economic integration. The Industrial Revolution, starting in the late 18th century, fundamentally changed British society and had a profound impact on global economic systems by introducing mass production and fostering industrialization worldwide. Question 25. Who was the British Prime Minister at the onset of World War I? A. Winston Churchill. B. Neville Chamberlain. C. Herbert Asquith. D. David Lloyd George. Answer. C. Herbert Asquith. Herbert Asquith was the British Prime Minister when World War I began in 1914, leading the country through the initial years of the war before being succeeded by David Lloyd George. Question 26. Describe the role of the UK in the decolonisation process post-World War II. A. The UK actively resisted decolonisation to maintain its empire. B. The UK played a leading role in facilitating transitions to independence for its colonies. C. The UK had no significant colonies to decolonise. D. The UK solely focused on economic exploitation of its former colonies. Answer: B. The UK play a leading role in facilitating transitions to independence for its colonies. After World War II, Britain actively engaged in the decolonisation process, granting independence to many of its colonies in Africa, Asia, and the Caribbean. Question 27. What legal reforms did the Married Women's Property Act 1882 introduce? A. It allowed married women to own and control property in their own right. B. It prohibited women from owning property. C. It restricted property rights to unmarried women only. D. It mandated joint ownership of property between spouses. Answer: A. It allowed married women to own and control property in their own right. The Married Women's Property Act 1882 was a landmark legal reform in Britain that significantly improved the financial independence of married women by allowing them to own and manage property independently of their husbands. Question 28. Detail the origin and effects of the Chartist movement in the 19th century. A. A literary movement that promoted the modernization of the English language. B. A political reform movement advocating for universal male suffrage and electoral reforms. C. A religious movement aiming to establish a new church. D. An economic movement focused on reducing taxation. Answer: B. A political reform movement advocating for universal male suffrage and electoral reforms. The Chartist movement was a significant working-class movement in the mid-19th century, pressing for political reforms, including the right to vote for all men, which influenced the subsequent extension of voting rights in the UK. Question 29. What was the primary outcome of the Good Friday Agreement of 1998? A. It initiated the UK's process to leave the European Union. B. It resolved long-standing disputes between different political factions in Northern Ireland. C. It established a new currency for Ireland. D. It created an alliance between the UK and France. Answer: B. It resolved long-standing disputes between different political factions in Northern Ireland. The Good Friday Agreement was a major peace agreement that helped end decades of conflict, known as the Troubles, by establishing a devolved government and promoting reconciliation in Northern Ireland. Question 30. How did the UK's role in global affairs change after the Suez Crisis of 1956? A. It strengthened its position as a global superpower. B. It led to increased isolationism in UK foreign policy. C. It marked a decline in Britain's influence as a world power. D. It had no impact on UK's global standing. Answer: C. It marked a decline in Britain's influence as a world power. The Suez Crisis exposed the limitations of Britain's ability to act independently in global affairs without the support of allies like the United States, leading to a re-evaluation of its role on the world stage. Question 31. Which acts consolidated the British Railways into a national network in 1921? A. The Railway Acts. B. The Transport Acts. C. The Railways Act. D. The Network Rail Acts. Answer: C. The Railways Act. The Railways Act of 1921 was instrumental in consolidating over 100 separate railway companies into 4 major groups, which later formed the basis for the nationalised British Railways. Question 32. What significant judicial principle was established by the case of Entick v. Carrington? A. The right to freedom of speech. B. The right of the government to intervene in private affairs without restriction. C. the protection against arbitrary searches and seizures. D. The legality of martial law. Answer C. The protection against arbitrary searches and seizures. The landmark case of N.T. Carrington in 1765 established the important judicial principle in English law that government authorities cannot conduct arbitrary searches or seizures, forming a foundation for modern civil liberties. Question 33. Name the operation during World War II that involved the mass evacuation of children from British cities. A. Operation Dynamo. B. Operation Overlord. C. Operation Pied Piper. D. Operation Market Garden. Answer C. Operation Pied Piper. Operation Pied Piper was the code name for the mass evacuation of children and other vulnerable people from British cities to rural areas to protect them from bombing raids during World War II. Question 34. What is the Salisbury Doctrine, and how does it influence the legislative process in the UK? A. A policy that requires all legislation to be reviewed by the Prime Minister. B. A convention that the House of Lords should not oppose legislation included in the elected government's manifesto. C. A legal principle that all laws must be approved by the Queen. D. A rule that legislative proposals must originate in the House of Commons. Answer B. A convention that the House of Lords should not oppose legislation included in the elected government's manifesto. The Salisbury Doctrine, established in the late 1940s, ensures that the House of Lords does not block legislation that has been promised by the government to the electorate, respecting the democratic mandate of the House of Commons. Question 35. Who was the Iron Lady of British politics, and what are her notable economic policies? A. Queen Elizabeth I, known for her mercantile policies. B. Margaret Thatcher, known for her policies of privatization and free market economics. C. Theresa May, known for her Brexit negotiations. D. Angela Merkel, known for her austerity measures in the EU. Answer B. Margaret Thatcher, known for her policies of privatization and free market economics. Margaret Thatcher, often referred to as the Iron Lady, was known for her strong leadership style and her economic policies, which included reducing the influence of trade unions, privatizing state-owned enterprises, and promoting the free market. Question 36. Describe the impact of the Human Rights Act 1998 on UK law. A. It restricted the rights and freedoms of individuals. B. It codified protections for human rights into UK law, aligning domestic law with the European Convention on Human Rights. C. It abolished all previous UK human rights legislation. D. It had minimal impact on UK law. Answer B. It codified protections for human rights into UK law, aligning domestic law with the European Convention on Human Rights. The Human Rights Act 1998 was significant for incorporating the rights set out in the European Convention on Human Rights into UK law, ensuring that these rights could be upheld in UK courts. Question 37. What was the significance of the Battle of Agincourt in 1415? A. It was a major defeat for British forces. B. It marked the end of British involvement in continental Europe. C. It was a significant victory for English forces during the 100 Years' War. D. It led to the immediate unification of England and France. Answer C. It was a significant victory for English forces during the 100 Years' War. The Battle of Agincourt in 1415 is celebrated as a major English victory against a larger French army, largely due to the effective use of the longbow, and it had a lasting impact on English military history and national pride. Question 38. How did the Treaty of Union 1707 affect the political landscape of Scotland and England? A. It separated Scotland from England. B. It unified Scotland and England under a single parliament at Westminster. C. It granted Scotland independence. D. It had no significant impact. Answer. B. It unified Scotland and England under a single parliament at Westminster. The Treaty of Union 1707 was a pivotal agreement that led to the political unification of Scotland and England, creating the Kingdom of Great Britain with a unified parliament, which significantly shaped the future of both nations. Question 39. Who was responsible for initiating the English Reformation, and what were the primary motivations? A. Queen Elizabeth I to strengthen the monarchy. B. King Henry VIII, primarily to annul his marriage and assert greater royal control over religious matters. C. King James I to merge different religious factions. D. Oliver Cromwell to establish a Puritan state. Answer. B. King Henry VIII, primarily to annul his marriage and assert greater royal control over religious matters. King Henry VIII's desire to annul his marriage to Catherine of Aragon, which the Pope refused to sanction, was a key factor in his decision to break from the Roman Catholic Church and establish the Church of England, marking the beginning of the English Reformation. Question 40. Detail the significance and outcomes of the Council of Nicaea in British religious history. A. It led to the establishment of the Anglican Church. B. It was primarily a political assembly with little religious impact. C. It resulted in the Nicene Creed, influencing Christian doctrine globally, including in Britain. D. It caused the separation of church and state in Britain. Answer. C. It resulted in the Nicene Creed, influencing Christian doctrine globally, including in Britain. While the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD was not a British event, its formulation of the Nicene Creed had a profound impact on Christian doctrine and religious practice throughout the Christian world, including the religious landscape of Britain. Question 41. What were the socio-economic impacts of the Enclosure Acts in Britain? A. They led to significant urbanization and changes in agricultural practices. B. They decreased the population in urban areas. C. They improved living conditions in rural areas. D. They had no notable impact. Answer. A. They led to significant urbanization and changes in agricultural practices. The Enclosure Acts privatized common lands, leading many rural residents to move to urban areas as agricultural practices became more commercialized and efficient, significantly impacting the social structure and economy. Question 42. Who was the architect of the welfare state established post-World War II? A. Winston Churchill. B. Clement Attlee. C. Margaret Thatcher. D. Tony Blair. Answer. B. Clement Attlee. As Prime Minister after World War II, Clement Attlee oversaw significant social reforms, including the establishment of the National Health Service and the expansion of the welfare state, aimed at providing security and improving living standards for all citizens. Question 43. Detail the historical development and importance of the Magna Carta over time. A. It was initially a failure but later became symbolic of democracy and justice. B. It was immediately successful and widely adopted. C. It had no lasting impact beyond medieval England. D. It primarily served as a military treaty. Answer. A. It was initially a failure but later became symbolic of democracy and justice. Originally issued in 1215 and reissued with alterations, the Magna Carta failed to resolve the conflict at the time, but later became a foundational symbol for rule of law and civil liberties in both Britain and the wider world. Question 44. What triggered the UK's decision to invoke Article 50 of the Lisbon Treaty? A. Economic pressures from the EU. B. The result of a referendum held in 2016 where the majority voted to leave the EU. C. Unilateral decision by the Prime Minister. D. Pressure from non-EU countries. Answer. B. The result of a referendum held in 2016 where the majority voted to leave the EU. This referendum, known as the Brexit vote, directly led to the UK invoking Article 50 to begin the process of withdrawing from the European Union. Question 45. How did the Bill of Rights 1689 shape the constitutional law of the UK? A. It established the principle of parliamentary sovereignty. B. It confirmed the rights of citizens to bear arms. C. It delineated the powers of the monarchy and rights of Parliament. D. It introduced universal suffrage. Answer. C. It delineated the powers of the monarchy and rights of Parliament. The Bill of Rights 1689 was instrumental in shaping the constitutional framework of the UK, setting limits on royal authority and codifying the rights of Parliament and rules for freedom of speech within its chambers. Question 46. What are the primary functions of the Bank of England, and how has its role evolved since its establishment? A. It serves only to print currency. B. It acts as the government's bank and the central bank, managing the UK's monetary policy and maintaining financial stability. C. It provides loans to individual businesses. D. It regulates the European banking system. Answer. B. It acts as the government's bank and the central bank, managing the UK's monetary policy and maintaining financial stability. Established in 1694, the Bank of England's role has evolved significantly, now including responsibilities like setting interest rates, issuing currency, and overseeing financial stability. Question 47. Describe the evolution of the British Parliament from its early beginnings to its current structure. A. It started as a consultative body of nobles and evolved into a bicameral legislature. B. It has always been a fully democratic institution. C. It began as a judicial body and remains so today. D. It was initially a religious assembly. Answer. A. It started as a consultative body of nobles and evolved into a bicameral legislature. The British Parliament began in the medieval period as an advisory body to the king, consisting mainly of nobles and clergy, and has evolved into a modern bicameral legislature comprising the House of Commons and the House of Lords. Question 48. Which conflict is commemorated by Armistice Day, and what is its historical significance? A. The Battle of Hessietings. B. The English Civil War. C. World War I. D. The Falklands War. Answer. C. World War I. Armistice Day commemorates the armistice signed between the Allies and Germany on November 11, 1918, marking the end of hostilities in World War I. It is a day of remembrance for the soldiers who died in the war. Question 49. What was the purpose of the Acts of Union 1800, and how did they affect Ireland? A. To separate Ireland from Great Britain. B. To unify Ireland and Great Britain under a single government and parliament. C. To grant Ireland complete independence. D. To impose trade restrictions on Ireland. Answer. B. To unify Ireland and Great Britain under a single government and parliament. The Acts of Union 1800 merged the Kingdom of Ireland and the Kingdom of Great Britain, creating the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland, with a single parliament based in London. Question 50. Who discovered the structure of DNA, and what was their connection to the UK? A. Albert Einstein, who worked at Cambridge University. B. James Watson and Francis Crick, who worked at Cambridge University. C. Marie Curie, who conducted research in London. D. Nikola Tesla, who was based in Edinburgh. Answer. B. James Watson and Francis Crick, who worked at Cambridge University. Watson and Crick, along with Rosalind Franklin and Maurice Wilkins, were instrumental in discovering the double helix structure of DNA in 1953, a breakthrough that occurred at Cambridge University in the UK. Question 51. What is the significance of the Commonwealth Games, and when were they first held? A. A global military competition started in 1916. B. An international sports event among Commonwealth nations, first held in 1930. C. A cultural festival begun in 1945. D. A trade conference established in 1965. Answer. B. An international sports event among Commonwealth nations, first held in 1930. The Commonwealth Games, originally known as the British Empire Games, are a multi-sport event held every 4 years involving athletes from the Commonwealth of Nations, emphasizing friendly competition and cultural exchange. Question 52. Describe the implications of the UK's opt-out from the euro. A. It led to the UK adopting the euro as its currency. B. It allowed the UK to retain the pound sterling while being a member of the EU. C. It forced the UK to leave the EU. D. It resulted in economic isolation from Europe. Answer. B. It allowed the UK to retain the pound sterling while being a member of the EU. The UK negotiated an opt-out from the adoption of the euro during the Maastricht Treaty negotiations, allowing it to keep the pound sterling as its currency while still being a member of the European Union. Question 53. How did the Welfare Reform Act 2012 impact social security in the UK? A. It expanded the scope and generosity of benefits. B. It introduced stricter eligibility criteria and aimed to encourage employment. C. It abolished all previous welfare programs. D. It removed all work requirements for receiving benefits. Answer. B. It introduced stricter eligibility criteria and aimed to encourage employment. The Welfare Reform Act 2012 was part of a broader government effort to overhaul the welfare system, introducing measures such as universal credit to simplify benefits and encourage work among recipients. Question 54. What was the primary purpose of the Corn Laws, and what led to their repeal? A. To promote free trade, repealed due to economic depression. B. To protect British agriculture by imposing tariffs on imported grain, repealed due to public pressure and economic challenges. C. To increase tax revenue, repealed as part of a larger tax reform. D. To restrict agricultural exports, repealed after significant crop failures. Answer. B. To protect British agriculture by imposing tariffs on imported grain, repealed due to public pressure and economic challenges. The Corn Laws were introduced to protect domestic agriculture from foreign competition, but were repealed in 1846 amid economic difficulties and significant public agitation, leading to greater support for free trade principles. Question 55. Who was the UK Prime Minister during the signing of the Maastricht Treaty, and what did the treaty entail? A. Margaret Thatcher. It established the European single market. B. John Major. It founded the European Union and introduced concepts of the EU citizenship. C. Tony Blair. It expanded the EU's powers. D. Gordon Brown. It initiated the Eurozone. Answer: B. John Major. It founded the European Union and introduced concepts of the EU citizenship. The Maastricht Treaty, signed during John Major's premiership, was crucial in founding the European Union, setting the framework for economic and political integration, including the introduction of the euro and EU citizenship. Question 56. Detail the UK's contributions to the development of computer technology during World War II. A. The invention of the telephone. B. The development of the Colossus and the work at Bletchley Park in breaking the Enigma code. C. The creation of the Internet. D. Innovations in mechanical engineering. Answer: B. The development of the Colossus and the work at Bletchley Park in breaking the Enigma code. During World War II, British efforts, particularly at Bletchley Park, were instrumental in advancing computer technology, with the creation of the Colossus computer to help decrypt German codes, significantly impacting the war and the future of computing. Question 57. What major social reforms were introduced during the Victorian era? A. The abolition of the monarchy. B. The introduction of social welfare programs. C. Expansions in public education and public health. D. The deregulation of the financial markets. Answer: C. Expansions in public education and public health. The Victorian era saw significant social reforms in the UK, including expansions in public education, which made schooling available to more children, and improvements in public health, which addressed the living conditions contributing to widespread disease. Question 58. What led to the creation of the Scottish Parliament in 1999? A. A decision by the Queen. B. A referendum where Scottish voters supported devolution. C. An act of the UK Parliament without public consultation. D. International pressure. Answer: B. A referendum where Scottish voters supported devolution. The creation of the Scottish Parliament in 1999 followed a 1997 referendum in which a majority of Scottish voters supported the devolution of powers from the UK Parliament, leading to significant administrative autonomy for Scotland. Question 59. How has the UK addressed challenges related to climate change in the 21st century? A. By withdrawing from international climate agreements. B. Through policies aimed at reducing carbon emissions and promoting renewable energy. C. By ignoring international consensus on climate change. D. By focusing solely on nuclear energy solutions. Answer: B. Through policies aimed at reducing carbon emissions and promoting renewable energy. The UK has been proactive in addressing climate change through legislation and policies that aim to reduce carbon emissions, increase energy efficiency, and promote the use of renewable energy sources, aligning with international efforts to combat global warming. Question 60. Detail the role of the UK in the formation of NATO. A. The UK was opposed to the formation of NATO. B. The UK was a peripheral member with little influence. C. The UK was a founding member and played a central role in its formation. D. The UK joined NATO only after its initial establishment. Answer: C. The UK was a founding member and played a central role in its formation. The UK was instrumental in the establishment of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, in 1949, aimed at providing collective security against the Soviet Union during the Cold War. Question 61. What factors led to the establishment of the National Health Service in 1948? A. The need to boost the economy post-World War II. B. The desire to provide universal health care to all citizens, influenced by the Beveridge Report. C. Pressure from pharmaceutical companies. D. A treaty requirement from the United Nations. Answer B. The desire to provide universal health care to all citizens, influenced by the Beveridge Report. The establishment of the National Health Service, NHS, in 1948 was largely driven by the ideals set forth in the Beveridge Report, which advocated for comprehensive health and social care available to all citizens, irrespective of their income. Question 62. Who was responsible for the decriminalisation of homosexuality in the UK, and in which year did it occur? A. Queen Elizabeth II in 1952. B. The Labour government in 1967. C. Margaret Thatcher in 1988. D. Tony Blair in 2000. Answer B. The Labour government in 1967. The Sexual Offences Act of 1967, passed under a Labour government, decriminalised homosexual acts in private between two men over the age of 21, marking a significant step towards equal rights. Question 63. What was the impact of the Black Death on the economic and social structure of medieval England? A. It led to economic prosperity. B. It had minimal impact. C. It caused a major labour shortage, leading to social and economic changes. D. It improved healthcare systems. Answer C. It caused a major labour shortage, leading to social and economic changes. The Black Death, which struck England in the mid-14th century, drastically reduced the population, causing a severe labour shortage that led to significant shifts in social and economic structures, including the decline of feudalism and changes in labour laws. Question 64. Detail the events and outcomes of the Jacobite risings in the 18th century. A. They consolidated British control over the colonies. B. They were a series of attempts by the Stuarts to regain the British throne, ultimately unsuccessful. C. They led to the establishment of parliamentary democracy. D. They resulted in the independence of Scotland. Answer B. They were a series of attempts by the Stuarts to regain the British throne, ultimately unsuccessful. The Jacobite risings, most notably those of 1715 and 1745, aimed to restore the Stuart monarchy to the thrones of England, Scotland, and Ireland, but ultimately failed, cementing the power of the Hanoverian dynasty. Question 65. What was the significance of the Battle of Waterloo for the UK and Europe? A. It marked the beginning of British colonial expansion. B. It resulted in Napoleon's final defeat, ending his rule and leading to a period of relative peace in Europe. C. It led to the UK losing its territories in Europe. D. It initiated the Industrial Revolution. Answer B. It resulted in Napoleon's final defeat, ending his rule and leading to a period of relative peace in Europe. The Battle of Waterloo in 1815 was significant as it marked the end of the Napoleonic Wars, leading to a long period of peace in Europe and solidifying the UK's role as a major power. Question 66. How did the UK's political landscape change with the introduction of devolution? A. It led to the dissolution of the UK. B. It granted Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland their own parliaments, allowing for greater self-governance. C. It centralised power more firmly in London. D. It removed all regional governments. Answer B. It granted Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland their own parliaments, allowing for greater self-governance. Devolution in the late 1990s marked a significant change in the UK's political structure by delegating power to regional parliaments, thus addressing demands for greater local control and political representation. Question 67. What are the historical origins and purposes of the royal prerogative? A. It originated from Roman law to designate the emperor's abilities. B. It is a set of historic powers originally held by the monarch that have now largely passed to government ministers. C. It was established to define parliamentary powers. D. It serves as the main legislative process in the UK. Answer. B. It is a set of historic powers originally held by the monarch that have now largely passed to government ministers. The royal prerogative includes powers such as issuing or withdrawing passports, declaring war, and making treaties, reflecting the historical sovereign powers of the monarchy now exercised by government officials. Question 68. Describe the implications of the UK's anti-terrorism legislation in the 21st century. A. It has led to increased censorship and media restrictions. B. It has primarily focused on economic sanctions. C. It includes measures to prevent terrorism, often raising concerns about civil liberties. D. It has decreased security measures in public spaces. Answer. C. It includes measures to prevent terrorism, often raising concerns about civil liberties. The UK's anti-terrorism legislation, particularly following the 9/11 attacks and subsequent terrorist activities, has been aimed at enhancing national security, but has also sparked debates over the balance between security and individual rights. Question 69. What role did the UK play in the development of the Internet? A. It was the primary developer of the Internet's basic protocols. B. It played a minor role with little impact. C. British scientist Tim Berners-Lee invented the World Wide Web, significantly shaping the Internet. D. It focused on commercializing existing technologies. Answer. C. British scientist Tim Berners-Lee invented the World Wide Web, significantly shaping the Internet. Tim Berners-Lee, a British engineer and computer scientist, invented the World Wide Web in 1989, revolutionizing information sharing and communication globally and making the Internet vastly more accessible. Question 70. How did the Financial Services Act 2012 reform financial regulation in the UK? A. It reduced government oversight over financial markets. B. It introduced stricter regulations and established new authorities to oversee financial stability. C. It eliminated all previous financial regulations. D. It focused solely on reducing taxes for financial institutions. Answer. B. It introduced stricter regulations and established new authorities to oversee financial stability. The Financial Services Act 2012 reformed the regulatory framework for financial services in the UK, creating bodies such as the Financial Conduct Authority, FCA, and the Prudential Regulation Authority, PRA, to ensure better governance and stability in the financial sector. Question 71. What were the main causes and consequences of the English Peasants' Revolt in 1381? A. It was caused by disagreements over religious doctrines, leading to widespread reform. B. It was triggered by oppressive taxation and social inequalities, resulting in temporary gains for peasants, but ultimately suppressed. C. It resulted from a successful foreign invasion. D. It was a protest against the monarchy's foreign policies. Answer. B. It was triggered by oppressive taxation and social inequalities, resulting in temporary gains for peasants, but ultimately suppressed. The Peasants' Revolt was a major uprising against high taxes, forced labor, and social injustices, leading to significant but short-lived changes before being brutally quelled by the authorities. Question 72. Who was the first Archbishop of Canterbury, and what was his role in the establishment of the Church of England? A. Thomas Becket, who led the Church's separation from Rome. B. Augustine of Canterbury, who established the early English Church. C. Thomas Cranmer, who played a key role during the English Reformation. D. Richard Hooker, who defined Anglican theology. Answer: B. Augustine of Canterbury, who established the early English Church. Augustine was the first Archbishop of Canterbury in the 6th century, sent by Pope Gregory the Great to evangelize the Anglo-Saxons, a mission that laid the foundations for the Church of England. Question 73. Detail the provisions and impact of the Treaty of Edinburgh-Northampton. A. It recognized Scottish independence from England. B. It established a formal alliance between England and Scotland. C. It was a trade agreement that benefited England. D. It marked the beginning of the English Civil War. Answer: A. It recognized Scottish independence from England. The Treaty of Edinburgh-Northampton, signed in 1328, recognized Scotland's independence from England, marking the end of the First War of Scottish Independence and solidifying Robert the Bruce's sovereignty as King of Scots. Question 74. What role did Britain play in the abolition of the transatlantic slave trade? A. It led the efforts to abolish the slave trade in the early 19th century. B. It opposed any changes to the slave trade. C. It played a minor role and largely ignored the issue. D. It was the last country to abolish the slave trade. Answer: A. It led the efforts to abolish the slave trade in the early 19th century. Britain was a leading force in the abolition of the transatlantic slave trade, with significant figures such as William Wilberforce pushing for the Slave Trade Act of 1807, which prohibited the trade within the British Empire. Question 75. How has the digital revolution affected the UK's approach to privacy and data protection? A. It has led to less stringent data protection laws. B. It has not influenced data protection policies. C. It has resulted in tighter regulations, such as the implementation of the GDPR. D. It has completely removed all privacy protections. Answer: C. It has resulted in tighter regulations, such as the implementation of the GDPR. The digital revolution has significantly impacted data protection policies in the UK, leading to stricter regulations like the General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR, to protect personal information in the age of digital communication and storage. Question 76. What were the contributing factors to the UK's victory in the Battle of Britain? A. Superior number of aircraft. B. Advanced radar technology and effective air defense strategies. C. The use of nuclear weapons. D. An alliance with Germany. Answer: B. Advanced radar technology and effective air defense strategies. The UK's victory in the Battle of Britain was largely due to its pioneering use of radar technology for early detection of enemy aircraft, coupled with effective tactics and the bravery of RAF pilots. Question 77. How did the Housing Act 1988 impact the housing market in the UK? A. It led to a decrease in home ownership. B. It introduced reforms that promoted private sector involvement and increased rents. C. It established universal housing for all citizens. D. It banned private property rentals. Answer: B. It introduced reforms that promoted private sector involvement and increased rents. The Housing Act 1988 was instrumental in reshaping the UK housing market by deregulating rental agreements and promoting private sector investment, which impacted rent levels and the availability of rental properties. Question 78. What is the significance of the special relationship between the UK and the USA? A. It refers to the economic rivalry between the two nations. B. It denotes a close diplomatic and military alliance during and after World War II. C. It is a term used to describe competitive sports between the two. D. It signifies a legal agreement regarding territory. Answer. B. It denotes a close diplomatic and military alliance during and after World War II. The special relationship is a term used to describe the particularly close political, diplomatic, cultural, economic, military, and historical relations between the UK and the USA, significantly influencing international policy and cooperation. Question 79. Who were the primary architects of the British welfare state, and what were their contributions? A. Margaret Thatcher and Ronald Reagan, who introduced free market reforms. B. Winston Churchill and Franklin D. Roosevelt, who focused on international alliances. C. Clement Attlee and William Beveridge, who established foundational welfare systems. D. Tony Blair and George Bush, who implemented modern neoliberal policies. Answer. C. Clement Attlee and William Beveridge, who established foundational welfare systems. Clement Attlee's post-war government, influenced by the Beveridge Report, authored by William Beveridge, laid the foundations of the modern British welfare state, introducing major social insurance and public health programs. Question 80. Describe the impact of Thatcherism on the UK economy and social policy. A. It emphasized state control and public ownership of industries. B. It focused on deregulation, privatization of state-owned companies, and reducing the power of trade unions. C. It promoted heavy taxation and increased public spending. D. It abolished all previous economic and social policies. Answer. B. It focused on deregulation, privatization of state-owned companies, and reducing the power of trade unions. Thatcherism, named after Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher, had a profound impact on the UK's economy and social policy in the 1980s, promoting neoliberal economic policies, reducing state intervention, and fostering a free market economy. Question 81. What are the implications of the Scotland Act 1998 for Scottish governance? A. It dissolved the Scottish Parliament. B. It established the Scottish Parliament and granted it powers over specific areas such as education and health. C. It unified Scottish and English laws. D. It declared Scotland independent from the UK. Answer. B. It established the Scottish Parliament and granted it powers over specific areas such as education and health. The Scotland Act 1998 was a landmark in devolution for the UK, establishing the Scottish Parliament with significant legislative authority, marking a substantial shift towards greater autonomy within Scotland. Question 82. How did the Falklands War influence UK foreign and defence policy? A. It led to the UK withdrawing from international military engagements. B. It underscored the need to maintain strong naval forces and reaffirmed the UK's commitment to defending its overseas territories. C. It resulted in the UK ceding the Falklands to Argentina. D. It initiated a policy of disarmament in the UK. Answer. B. It underscored the need to maintain strong naval forces and reaffirmed the UK's commitment to defending its overseas territories. The Falklands War in 1982 played a crucial role in shaping UK defence policy, emphasising the importance of military readiness and the ability to project power overseas. Question 83. What was the role of the UK in the creation and development of nuclear energy? A. The UK was a late adopter of nuclear technology. B. The UK led the world in banning nuclear energy. C. The UK played a pioneering role, including the development of the first commercial nuclear power station. D. The UK had no involvement in nuclear energy development. Answer. C. The UK played a pioneering role, including the development of the first commercial nuclear power station. The UK was at the forefront of nuclear technology, opening the world's first commercial nuclear power station, Calder Hall, in 1956, which marked a significant advancement in energy technology. Question 84. Describe the impact and legacy of the British Empire on current international relations. A. It led to isolated international relations. B. The legacy of the British Empire has little to no influence on current international relations. C. The British Empire established widespread English language use and legal systems that continue to influence international relations. D. It resulted in global economic decline. Answer. C. The British Empire established widespread English language use and legal systems that continue to influence international relations. The historical reach of the British Empire laid the groundwork for the Commonwealth and left enduring impacts on governance, language, and law across dozens of nations. Question 85. How did the Public Health Acts of the 19th century improve living conditions in the UK? A. They worsened due to increased industrial pollution. B. They focused on improving housing and sanitation to combat the spread of diseases. C. They had no impact on public health. D. They reduced public access to health care. Answer. B. They focused on improving housing and sanitation to combat the spread of diseases. The Public Health Acts, particularly the 1848 and 1875 Acts, were critical in improving urban living conditions by addressing water supply, sewage, waste management, and housing conditions to prevent disease. Question 86. What were the main factors leading to the UK's decision to leave the European Union in 2016? A. Economic prosperity within the EU. B. Concerns over sovereignty, immigration, and EU regulations. C. A directive from the United Nations. D. Pressure from neighbouring non-EU countries. Answer. B. Concerns over sovereignty, immigration, and EU regulations. The decision to leave the European Union, known as Brexit, was driven by various factors, including concerns over loss of sovereignty, the impact of EU regulations, and issues related to immigration and border control. Question 87. How has the UK contributed to international space exploration efforts? A. The UK has primarily focused on military uses of space. B. UK-based scientists and engineers have played key roles in major international missions, such as the European Space Agency. C. The UK has not participated in any space exploration efforts. D. The UK's contributions are limited to telecommunications. Answer. B. UK-based scientists and engineers have played key roles in major international missions, such as the European Space Agency. The UK has contributed significantly to space exploration, including scientific research, satellite technology, and participation in international space missions. Question 88. Detail the reforms brought about by the Education Act 1944. A. It abolished public education. B. It introduced universal secondary education for all children. C. It privatized all educational institutions. D. It decreased funding for education. Answer: B. It introduced universal secondary education for all children. Known as the Butler Act, the Education Act of 1944 was a transformative law in the UK that established the framework for the modern educational system, including free secondary education for all children. Question 89. What challenges and reforms did the UK face during the economic recessions of the late 20th century? A. There were no significant economic recessions. B. The recessions led to significant reductions in public welfare programs. C. The UK implemented austerity measures and financial reforms to stabilize the economy. D. The government focused solely on external trade. Answer: C. The UK implemented austerity measures and financial reforms to stabilize the economy. During economic downturns, particularly in the 1980s and 1990s, the UK faced significant economic challenges that led to the implementation of various financial reforms and austerity measures to control public spending and stabilize the economy. Question 90. How did the legal reforms of the mid-20th century affect civil liberties in the UK? A. They restricted civil liberties significantly. B. They enhanced civil liberties through laws like the Race Relations Act and the Sexual Offences Act. C. They had no impact on civil liberties. D. They focused solely on economic rights. Answer: B. They enhanced civil liberties through laws like the Race Relations Act and the Sexual Offences Act. Legal reforms in the mid-20th century significantly improved civil liberties in the UK by addressing racial discrimination, decriminalising homosexual acts, and promoting equal rights. Question 91. What advancements in medical research have been led by the UK? A. The UK has had minimal impact on medical research. B. Pioneering work in genetics, the discovery of the structure of DNA, and advancements in medical technologies. C. The UK has focused only on traditional medicine. D. Medical research is banned in the UK. Answer: B. Pioneering work in genetics, the discovery of the structure of DNA, and advancements in medical technologies. The UK has been at the forefront of several major medical research advancements, including the discovery of DNA structure by Watson, Crick, and Franklin, and continues to lead in areas like genetics and pharmaceuticals. Question 92. Describe the UK's legislative response to the global financial crisis of 2008. A. Immediate withdrawal from international financial markets. B. Implementation of comprehensive reforms to enhance financial regulation and stability. C. No significant legislative response was made. D. Focus on agricultural subsidies. Answer: B. Implementation of comprehensive reforms to enhance financial regulation and stability. In response to the 2008 financial crisis, the UK enacted significant legislative changes to strengthen the financial sector, including reforms to banking regulation and oversight to prevent future crises. Question 93. What were the main causes and outcomes of the UK miners' strikes in the 1980s? A. The strikes were caused by disputes over tea breaks, resulting in no significant changes. B. The strikes were largely about wage disputes and led to the closure of many mines. C. They were caused by environmental concerns. D. They focused on improving housing for miners. Answer: B. The strikes were largely about wage disputes and led to the closure of many mines. The UK miners' strikes in the 1980s, particularly the prolonged strike of 1984 to 85, were primarily over job losses and wage constraints, leading to significant industry restructurings and the eventual closure of many mines. Question 94. How did the Crime and Disorder Act 1998 impact UK law enforcement and public safety? A. It decreased the powers of the police. B. It introduced measures to tackle antisocial behaviour and youth crime, enhancing community safety. C. It abolished all previous criminal laws. D. It focused exclusively on Internet crime. Answer. B. It introduced measures to tackle antisocial behaviour and youth crime, enhancing community safety. The Crime and Disorder Act 1998 was significant in reforming UK law enforcement and public safety, particularly through provisions aimed at reducing antisocial behaviour, youth offending, and racially aggravated crimes, thereby enhancing community safety. Question 95. What are the major challenges facing the UK's immigration policy in the 21st century? A. There are no challenges as the UK has closed its borders completely. B. Balancing economic needs with public concerns about integration, security, and resource allocation. C. The policy focuses only on increasing population numbers. D. The main challenge is the complete lack of immigration laws. Answer. B. Balancing economic needs with public concerns about integration, security, and resource allocation. The UK faces complex challenges in its immigration policy, including managing economic demands for labour, addressing public and political pressures regarding the integration of immigrants, and ensuring security and fair resource distribution.